Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and this channel is all about SMS Beauty, which is skincare, makeup, sunscreen. Welcome back to my channel. I just said that. I've not filmed in a while. I was on vacation out in California, in the Bay Area, and yeah, it feels weird to be in front of a camera. But I wanted to sit down and film today because I have these 3 sunscreens, which you probably have seen by the title. This is all about 3 CANMAKE versions of sunscreen. So one of my very favorite sunscreens from my very first Korean/Japanese sunscreen video was about, well, it had the CANMAKE one in it. And to this day, it's still one of my very favorites. It is just the simplest sunscreens. It went on pretty much invisibly. You can use it if you have more oily skin or in the summer. And so when I saw, actually I was going to repurchase it because I haven't had it in a while. But when I went on to Amazon and I believe on YesStyle as well, I saw that they had 3 and I was like, okay, so what's the difference? The first one I saw was the green one. It's like the Cica mint one. That one seemed pretty obvious, but then they have a clear and a white, which are these 2. And I was just like, you know what? It makes more sense if I just test them all because I bet other people are wondering as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I will link all of the products below, but just take a look on Google if you are not seeing what you want. And also these prices can vary a lot. So the ones I found on Amazon are about $12. I think YesStyle and Stylevana also have about $12. So those are kind of the average, but you can find it for maybe a little bit less or probably a little bit more. So let's get going. Okay. So my skin right now is doing pretty good. I'm going to make a better effort of telling you guys my skin type and like what my skin is doing at the moment. So my skin type is pretty normal, balanced skin. It gets oilier in the summer. I live in a hot, humid climate. It gets drier in the winter. That's just kind of the way it is. My skin is heavily influenced by how well I take care of it or if I don't, and also the weather. So at the time, it's doing pretty well. I'm not going outside a lot today, so I probably won't need something that's more like water resistant. There we go. But these are, you know, a lot of Korean, not all, but a lot of Korean sunscreens are really meant to be kind of like your average day-to-day inside your office, running errands, not out in heavy sun. But if you are out in heavy sun, just reapply. Maybe don't wear makeup because they can wear off a little bit. Well, not wear off, but like just like any other sunscreen, you do need to reapply if you're going to be out in heavy sun. So I tend to wear these when I know I'm going to be inside. I do that with most Korean sunscreens unless it's waterproof. But yeah, that's just kind of like the basics of my skin and how to use these products. Okay, so I don't read Japanese. I'm sorry, I've been saying Korean. These are Japanese. CANMAKE is Japanese. My apologies. I don't read Japanese, but I have taken a look and these are all jumbled. But the easy one to tell is the green one. This is the Cica mint one. And then the difference between these 2. So when you're looking online or in the bottle, the one with the pink label right here, this is the original. That's 01 clear. And then the one with, it says 02 on it. You can't see it. And then it has more of like, I guess a clear labeling versus the pink labeling. This one is the white one. So it's very confusing. I'm going to do away with these because I can't read them anyway. And then we'll take out the green one. So this one is pretty clear. And I will insert swatches of just the packaging and then the swatches of the sunscreens on my hand as well. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply all 3 on my face. So we have one up here, one here, and one here. I'm going to start off with just the clear version on my forehead. Why not? Okay, and typically I would apply using either a 1/4 teaspoon or if I'm going to do half and half, I would do a half of this. Today I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to do 1 finger length for each portion and that should be decent. But always remember, you need to apply the correct amount, which is a 1/4 teaspoon. Some people say 2 finger lengths, some people say 3. If you're doing a very thin layer or like stripe down your finger, you should be doing more. So let's get in. By the way, I have a pinched nerve in my back. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been formally diagnosed, but I'm like very, like if you're seeing me turn awkwardly, that's why. So this is the finger length that I have. So pretty much got this rubbed in. It's a little harder just because I'm not putting it on my whole face. So if you see any kind of parts that aren't rubbed in, that's why. But it does have a little bit more of a cast than some of the other sunscreens that I review, like Japanese and Korean sunscreens. But it just takes like a little bit extra kind of rubbing around the edges. That's where I tend to get it. Otherwise, it's pretty invisible. It's also much harder when you're trying to only put it on a certain amount of skin. Okay, so there is a little bit of a glow to it at the moment, but this is one of those sunscreens that I find dries down and doesn't really leave you with a glowy kind of complexion. And I like that for certain things. I wear it under the MAC Face and Body foundation a lot. I also wear it in the summertime more because it doesn't feel like it's like slipping and sliding on my face as much. It's just kind of my preference when it's already hot out. But if you do need more moisture and you have like drier skin, I would say definitely put a moisturizer on underneath. Today for this video, I tend to have no skincare on just because I want to show you what it looks like on bare skin. But of course, just go in with your normal skincare if that's what you want. Okay, next one we're gonna do, this is the number 2. This is UV, well, it's all UV gel. They're all the same name, but this one will say white on it. Again, this is a pretty chunky finger length. Also, if you notice that my hair looks like a little gray, it's because I put in dry shampoo and it, you know, it's not one of those brown ones, so it left my hair a little gray. Okay, it's a lot harder to rub it in when it's just a quarter or a third of your face, but as you can see, it's pretty casty. It looks like a mineral sunscreen, to be honest. It has dried down pretty nicely though, like you're seeing how I'm getting quite a bit of tugging and pulling. So I could probably continue to rub it out, but it's not gonna get much better than this. Like it's called white. So that's kind of what it is. I should mention that none of these have given me any eye sting or burning. Not to say that you won't experience it, but I have found a lot of Japanese and Korean sunscreens, they just don't irritate my eyes as much as American and some European ones. But this one, you saw me, I was rubbing it all over my eyes. Okay, and the last one, we have the Cica Mint. So as I apply this one, I will tell you, obviously, like if you've ever used any Cica product, a lot of the times they are meant to help with irritation and inflammation and redness. And the green is meant to kind of like color correct the red in your skin. So if you do find that you have like very redness prone skin, this may be a good option just because like that's the whole point of it, more so than obviously like the white one is just white. But for me, I don't really have, that's not really a main issue, so it's not something that I look for in a sunscreen. Look at my neck and my face. Okay, I'm gonna rub it in just a little bit more, but I think it's pretty clear that these two are very similar. As this one dries, it has become less white and a little bit more kind of like the clear one, but it definitely goes on with a cast. Same with the Cica mint one. Okay, I would say that they're kind of comparable at this point, and this one the most clear. So one thing I always kind of try to mention with any sunscreen that has kind of a bit more rubbing and tugging needed, it's sometimes not great, even if it is like a mineral sunscreen or a hybrid sunscreen. It's not always great for sensitive skin. Some people's skin gets really red and irritated by the more rubbing they do. So these would be two, at least the bottom two, that I would say, like, maybe if that's you, I would pass on them because it's gonna require quite a bit of rubbing. But you can see as it kind of like sets, if I give it a few minutes, it's not as pronounced, but it's still not something I would probably wear outside of the house without makeup on over it. So these two are definitely ones that I don't reach for as often. So what are my thoughts on all of these? Well, I think it's pretty clear from my face which one I prefer. It's the pink one, the clear one. This is 01. Try to look for like the original 01 clear, whatever the verbiage is. This is my favorite. This is the one that I'll reach for under makeup alone. Kind of, I go through it pretty quickly. These two, sad to say, but they're not for me. If you have maybe a lighter skin tone, they could work for you. If you do have redness, the green Cica one could be good for you. But for me, it's just not something that I need. If I do want to have something, I don't know why I would want to have something with a white cast. There are other ones that I would reach for. I mean, these are affordable, so that's a good part of them. But for me, it's just not worth the cast that they give. I will say that they are nice if you have more oily skin. That's because they just really dry down. There's not a lot of tack to them, not a lot of like moisture and slip to them. So they're not gonna add extra moisture if you already do have more oily skin. But I would say they're not necessarily great if you have drier skin because you will need to layer your moisturizer underneath. So it's kind of, you gotta kind of find the balance and what works for you. If you're gonna buy any, I would buy this. If you need more moisture, you can add it or just leave it as is if you have more oily skin. This is the one that I highly recommend. The other two, not so much. So I hope that helps. This one was really just more about like the differences between the three. If you want more information on like the actual ingredients, all those things, I'm sure there are other reviews about that, or you can look online. But this was really just to help you choose between them. So if you did enjoy this video, if you liked it, if you learned something, give it a big old like, subscribe below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.